everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of your Human Design Coach podcast. I am Ashley Watkins, and we are here together to look at all things human design, specifically the application of human design. What does it look like in our real lives? Our quote for today: when someone makes a decision, he is really diving into a strong current that will carry him to places he had never dreamed of when he first made the decision. And this comes from the book The Alchemist, which I just recently read for the first time. My type is generator. Quantum human design, which is Dr. Karen Parker's kind of realm of teaching. She refers to the generator as the alchemist. And so I was at the airport the other day and saw this book called The Alchemist, and it caught my eye. And then I was on YouTube, and there's a gal that I recently followed on there, and she was talking about the book The Alchemist. So I said, okay, I get the message. Let me give that a read. And I just found it very relevant to where I'm at right now in my life and in my journey. So the book came up. Remember, my strategy is wait to respond. So it came into my orbit. I had that gut kind of ping of this is something to pay attention to. Came up again, said, okay, I'm going to read it. So there you go. Strategy, authority, and action in service of type, generator, alchemist, creating. So today is episode 8. A few episodes ago, episode 3, I talked a little bit about myself and my journey with human design. And I got up until about 2022, which was leaving the classroom. So I thought I might pick up around there and just give you a little more on my chart, as well as a little more of my story and how I see human design in the things that I've experienced in the last few years. I am an associate level certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. And previous to my work now, I was a classroom teacher for about 20 years, born and raised in Wichita, Kansas, live now just outside of Wichita. My students' social and emotional needs was really what led me to coaching. And so in 2021, I had finished my initial certification for coaching, and I was still teaching. And I decided I'm going to start a business. And I would say that was very much my strategy and authority in action of responding to this opportunity with that gut. Yes, this is something that I want to do. And I'm still learning. Got that 3 line in the profile. Got to learn by doing. And my business continues to evolve. Really started out more focused on working with students, high school students, which I still love, but really had this human design has kind of taken me on a journey I didn't expect. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then I also work part-time for an ed tech company where I support English teachers. So I'll talk a little more about that later. So that's just a little bit about me. My business is Ashley Watkins Coaching, currently focused on human design teaching and coaching. So in episode 3, I walked you through some of the basics about my human design chart. So just to review, I am a generator with a wait to respond strategy, as all generators have, and a sacral or trust your gut authority. My definition is triple split, and I have a 3-5 profile number. My open centers are my head, emotions, and root. So talked a little bit about how I see those show up for me and what that means to me. So before I get into a little more of my story and where I've been aware of kind of my human design, I want to cover a little more of my chart. Now, I'm not going to go through all my gates. So that seems a little bit like, if you really want to know, DM me. I'll be happy to tell you. But I thought I just might touch on my channels. Channels are really cool. Channels are about the gifts that we bring into the world. Things that just may come pretty naturally to us and are innate, especially as we are continuing to live in alignment with our type, strategy, and authority, and some of these other pieces, being aware of the lessons we're here to learn in our open centers. So channels just really bring life to a chart, I think. So I have 3. First of all, I have the 1156. So I'll pop my chart up here so you can see what this looks like. But I have the 1156, which is the curiosity channel. And so, wow, it has to do with me being curious. It's not just a clever title, to quote Wayne's World. This is about having a lot of ideas, more than you could probably ever possibly make happen, which I was like, And it's a freedom to understand that this curiosity is about inspiration, not always about implementation. And that through seeking and sharing the discoveries that I make along the way, that's how I bring inspiration to others. So it doesn't mean I have to do all the things, but just by learning, being curious, and sharing what I'm learning can be a source of it to others. So in my coach training program, we talked about like the 7 C's of coaching. One of them was curiosity. And interesting to me at the time was I felt that was challenging. And I kind of realized how through my years in the classroom, so just a reminder, I went through my coach training in 2020 and had been in the classroom a lot of years at that point, I had kind of lost some curiosity about people. You encounter a lot of people as a teacher. They're young people, but they're still people. I think so. Some may disagree. Um, God, I was reading a book the other day, and the line was, teenagers are the best people, and we know this because children think they're the best people. Teenagers think they're the best people. And the only people who don't think teenagers are the best people are adults, and adults are the worst people. So anyway, side note. But I recognized in looking at this essential coach quality of curiosity that I had kind of lost my curiosity. I kind of had a feeling of like, oh, I know. I've seen that person before. Oh, I know what they're going to say. I've experienced this before. And the skills in coaching of really listening with the heart, not listening to respond, and asking powerful questions and really flipped this around for me. But it took a while, and it still has taken me a while, of not listening to solve or fill in the blanks. So curiosity. So I was excited to see this channel pop up for me. And these are the titles that Erin Claire Jones gives them, that you may see them as something else in other places, but curiosity resonates for me. And to know that through my curiosity, that is how I can impact others. So it's just really deepened that practice for me and deepened my commitment to staying curious. Don't get it right all the time. Get it wrong a lot of the time, but it's a journey. Okay, the second channel that I have is the 4426, which Erin Claire Jones calls the marketing channel. And it is the ability to shift your message to resonate with different audiences. And there's a piece here of selling. So selling others on what I'm genuinely excited about. And I have to say, when I first saw this, I was a little bit like, little question mark. As a teacher, I never thought of myself that way. It's actually been, I just talked about this on another podcast, of what was challenging to me of getting into the entrepreneurial space was charging for my services. And so sometimes I think we think of selling as something, that can be icky or not feel good. Realize that when it talks about selling others on what I'm genuinely excited about, I've been doing this my whole life. Let me tell you, it goes to me right along the lines of that curiosity channel. What am I seeking? What am I learning? Let me tell you what I'm discovering to sell them on. You need to listen to this podcast. Like, you should try this course. Framing it in that way, I think, has helped me entrepreneurially as well, because and especially as I've been in the human design coaching space, God, I just believe in this so much. I've seen it help me. I've seen it help others. And so it's easy. It doesn't feel like selling. It's, wow, to trust your inner authority. Oh man, what a gift. So, this kind of recent chapter in my business has really opened my eyes to this. And there's something too of a little chicken and the egg about these channels, is that do you have it and then you see the channel, or do you see the channel and then you just become more aware of it? Either way, man, it's working. And another piece of this channel with the marketing 4426 is efficiency. And I really see that efficiency in myself. We was in a class the other day, and I kind of got called out in a loving way of, oh, you are like a GSDer. And I said, oh, what's that? Get shit done. Are we putting an explicit rating on this podcast today? Maybe. So I said, yeah, that's me. So another piece of this is to take rest when needed. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about my story of the last few years of the importance of rest, even for generators who can kind of do it all. Okay, last channel that I have is the 214, which is the vision channel. So this is about bringing vision to the world around me, exploring new directions, new ways, trusting the gut. And I think what I love about this is number one, new ways. Always been drawn to new ways. That comes up in a lot of personality tests. That comes up in different things that I've done. Like I recognize, don't reinvent the wheel, but it's coming to mind a lot for me recently with education. I know I'm not the only one, but it's part of why I love what they're doing at Learning Lab Wichita, which is new ways, different ways, reimagining education. So I think that when I talk about teaching no longer lighting me up, that was a piece of it. I felt that I had not conquered the mountaintop of I'm the best teacher I could ever be, but I had done it in all the new ways that felt good. And I had done everything within my power to make it more meaningful, but stymied by the system. Who hasn't been? um, so being true to your own direction and the line of even if you're not sure where it will go with this 214 vision channel, I feel that. When I started my business, I didn't necessarily know where it would take me. I couldn't have envisioned where I am right now, but it's been so satisfying. And what we do when we let go of that control is we allow for our greater impact and that's real to me. So those are the channels in my chart. What I want to do again is just pick up the journey around 2022. So I started my business in 2021. In 2022, I left the classroom and I was like, okay, now I'm going to build this business. And I knew I still needed a part-time job. The business was not paying the bills. So I also was kind of in search of that. So let's say May 2022 is where we find ourselves. So let me talk about the business piece first and in relation to my human design. It did not feel natural in the way I was doing it at first. I really feel like I was trying to do it. If we think about new ways, I was the opposite of that. Let me look at what everyone else is doing. Let me ask for lots of advice. Let me maybe try to show up in spaces where I'm networking, which I just talked about this the other day about how, to me, in the beginning, networking was so intimidating because I felt like I was just sort of white knuckling it. Like, when do I get to talk about what my business is? And now I've realized networking is just connection. It's just listening. It's coaching. It's listening. It's empowering. It's thinking, can I help you? Can you help me? How can we help each other? And that may just be I'm cheering you on so hard. But let me think about how I can connect you with other people. And it's really a beautiful way to show up in service of others. But in 2022, that was not how I viewed networking. It was very much like I must get myself in front of people and I must talk about what I'm doing. So when I'm saying all of that, and as I was reflecting for this episode, very disconnected from that gut, right? So I just didn't feel like I could trust it because I was navigating these unknown spaces. And I remember there was an opportunity that came up. I had connected with someone organically who was very like, oh, I think what you're doing, we could find a place for this and let me connect you with these things. And it was like every time we sort of chatted, I just felt like it got more out of reach and less clear the more we talked about it. But I kept reaching out and I kept saying, what about this? Can we do this? And he'd be like, yeah, that's great. And then I kept not going with my gut of saying like, this isn't it. This isn't the space. Even if it did work out, this isn't what you're wanting to do. I just felt like, oh my gosh, I need to, again, get myself out there. I need to build my business. And he ghosted me. So like I said, I think I said this last time in episode 3 that when I don't follow my gut, it's not that it's usually like disastrous, but it just doesn't feel that good. So that was an example of like, oh, well, you could have probably saved yourself a couple months of, phone tag and emails and things like that. But, sometimes we have to learn. So that was kind of the initial feeling of trying to find my place. In the meantime, as I mentioned, I knew I had to get a part-time job. And it was funny as I was getting ready to leave teaching and people kind of asked me, what are you doing? I'm leaving teaching to build my business and I'll probably get like a part-time job at an ed tech company. I mean, I did not know what I was talking about. I knew what they were, but like, how does one do that? So I just happened to come across this was back in the days when TikTok still felt fun. A gal who was basically like a teacher career coach. You're in the classroom. Let me coach you to find something if you're ready to leave the classroom. She used to have a job board that was open. Now it's behind a paywall. Good for you. and it was posted a job description. So I think I applied for that in maybe June of 2022, forgot all about it. Heard back a couple months later, wanted you to do this interview, did it, felt like it went fine. And then all of a sudden, like a couple weeks later, I was getting an email that says you're hired and here's what the job is. And I was like, is this real? And I very quickly knew it was a yes, but it was going to involve travel to other states and supporting teachers. And definitely in the back of my mind, that little monkey mind, that open head, what if, started to counteract the gut response of yes to say, are you sure you can do this? Are you sure you're good enough for that? And the answer is no, but the gut was not going to be denied. That has been really interesting. I would say that kicked up some things for me too that also led me to disconnect from my gut a bit, in that I got into the world of corporate life, which was very new to me. So here I am in this entrepreneurial world. This is different. I'm in this corporate world. This is different. And I just start questioning everything. What path do I want to go on? Should I just do this corporate path? It kind of became like, am I contributing enough to my family? Like, do I need to just have like a steady job? Like, should I just take and try to move up the ladder? And got kind of confusing for a while. And I look back and I look at it as like kind of a lot of wasted energy of, I could have just enjoyed myself more. I still have this part-time job, and I feel like something shifted for me in the last 6 months to a year, which is like you get to help English teachers who are some of your favorite people. You get to travel. You have done things you never thought you could. Driven a car in New York City, for one, and learned and grown so much in ways that would not have been possible, that I wish I could have settled into just letting it be what it was. But it's all part of the journey. We're going to go to summer 2024. So it's been about 2 years now. Remember earlier when I said in one of my channels in the 4426, I can be very efficient, but rest is still necessary, even for the generator. And this was the lesson I was about to learn in 2024. So, and unfortunately, I know this is going to resonate with quite a few of you because I've heard from others about these struggles, but I started to experience debilitating migraines in about June, July 2024. They had been something I had struggled with in the past, but they were very infrequent and they were manageable. I had a medication that I could do, and that would kind of shut everything down, and it was fine. And I also realized at this time I was able to meet with the neurologist after a couple months of these and realized they were related to my hormones, which of the age that I am, were starting to, do some different things than they had done previously. And it just really stopped me. I had known for a while that I needed to be gentler on myself, that I needed to slow down, that I needed to take better care of my health and my body. Life will give you the lessons, and they'll start quiet at first, and then it gets to be where they're not going to ignore us anymore. And this was that point. So basically, for 6 months in a row, I was like down and out. I got some new medication. It helped, but it took a while. 6 months, every month for like 3 days, I was just out. I had to slow way down on my travel. But more importantly, I realized, okay, I have this medication and it works, but other things have to change too. And so something I think about here is like the defined spleen and having that, which I have, and that's like connecting with intuition in your body. I think also I had gotten a little lost from that, just in, where, again, that open head was kind of taking me ruminating, thinking, disconnected from the gut, the intuition. And so having to be in bed and realizing how horrible that was really gave me a different perspective. That lasted basically through the end of 2024. And some other things happened too during this time that just changed my perspective a bit and got me back and connected with this. And I started looking at human design a little more. So I mentioned in 2019, I learned about my type, strategy, and authority. And that was all I really knew for quite a while. And then here we are, end of 2024, and it just kind of comes back into my life to where I can respond to it. And then start of 2025, that was when I saw Erin Claire Jones. She was going to be offering this coaching certification. And I said, well, it's a hell yes. So let's go. And at that same time, I started participating in what are now called the Strategic Goals Workshops, which is led by a wonderful trio of women here locally. Vicki Cleary, Jenna Bottleston, and Christy Windish went to that workshop in January 2025. And I said, yeah, my goal for the next few months is to finish this certification. Don't know where it's going to take me, but I want to do it because I think this is something potentially interesting. I was lit up for sure. I felt like myself. And I was still doing all the other things. I was still coaching young people. I was still working my part-time job. I was feeling more connected with my family than I ever had been and able to show up for them because I was prioritizing my rest and my health, and slowing down a bit felt good. So get the coaching certification, and now we're off. Let's start building the offerings. Let's test them out. I enrolled in mentor coaching because it was coming time for me to renew my ACC. So I knew that would help me with refining these offerings. And basically that leads me to where I am now. I've just been building this piece of my business since then. And I just find myself so interested in my own voice for the first time in a while, how it fits in this human design world, how it fits in the coaching world, just seeing myself differently. And I think that's the heart of what I don't want to cry on the podcast. I think that's the heart of what I feel so strongly about doing. And I don't know where this is going to take me. Likely, I think I mentioned I never thought I would retire as a teacher, but I didn't know what came next. I just know that I feel very empowered to trust my inner authority, to prioritize my excitement. And I feel like I have a language and a knowledge of myself through human design and through some other things that I've been doing recently that is new and exciting to me. And so, all that to say, I think this is why I feel so good about what I'm doing now, because I see the potential to empower others to have that same thing and to be able to look at the woman sitting across from me in a coaching session or the group of women that I'm presenting to at a workshop and say, you are whole and complete. You are the only person who can have the impact that you can have. You are uniquely wired for where you are right now. You have your own answers. How can we work together so that you will be empowered to step even more into your own voice? How can you walk away from our session saying, not that, oh, Ashley's such a good coach, but I can do anything? That's what I'm excited about. And that is what is shaping what I'm doing right now with pursuing more education around coaching, continuing to refine my coaching practice through human design and elsewhere, and just really looking to others and to community. So my word for 2026 is community. I think that is a big piece of the last couple of years of really trying to do it all myself and thinking I'm the only one that can do it. And that's another thing I love about human design is we know how much others' energy gives us and impacts us. I want more of that. I want to be more in these communities that feel really good. And it's been beautiful to see how when I put that out, how that's, coming up. Okay. Once again, thank you so much for being here. As always, please send in any questions you have if you'd like me to take a look at your chart, maybe a couple of charts together. Really, the sky's the limit. If there's something you'd like to hear for yourself or others on this podcast, send me an email, ashleyWatkinsCoaching@gmail.com. Put anything else that I mentioned down in the show notes. And until next time, take care.